Is that on? Can you hear me? So tell us a bit about how you got into music, man. What kind of stuff did you play back in the day?
I first got into music in primary school. So I played the violin and the cello and the tuba and the euphonium.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I even know what the euphonium is.
Euphonium's like a small tuba.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to play the trumpet, and my teacher said, "You're a big boy, you can carry a tuba." Play the tuba, and then I got sick of carrying around a tuba, so I went down to a smaller instrument, the euphonium. But I played that throughout primary school, and then when I got into high school, I started playing the bass guitar.
Okay.
And it was because my brother started playing the drums, and he wanted someone to play with, and he thought the guitar would take too long to learn. So he said, "You should learn the bass." And yeah, that's how I started to get into bass guitar and the music that I play now.
Cool. I didn't realise you started on bass. So how long till you got into guitar? Because I only really think of you as a guitarist.
Yeah, 5 years all through high school I was playing the bass guitar, and then just near the end I started playing guitar.
Do you still play bass a bit or not?
Yeah, a bit, yeah. But it's harder to create whole songs and melodies on just the bass, and I do enjoy writing songs, so I thought I'd go into the guitar.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about your songwriting process, because when I think of your music, I always think of all these different layers of guitar, and I just wonder how you got to that point where you're writing like that, trying to piece little parts together.
Yeah, my writing habits are quite chaotic, but generally 99% of what I play is crap, and there's that 1% which will be something that piques my interest. And usually I'll pick up on one little melody or chord progression that I like. I've recorded that, and I'll loop that back to myself over and over again, and then I start the same process again.
Okay.
99% crap, pick out that 1% that's good, then I'll loop those two guitars over again, and then write more guitar. And that is kind of interesting, because then say you have these layers that are being built up, I can then play around and strip away whatever the initial bass guitar line was. Sorry, the basic layer. And so then what I'm left with can be something totally different to what was the original idea in the first place.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And that process works well for me. So because I played the bass for many years and the guitar isn't as intuitive for me, I don't feel as comfortable improvising, jamming with other people and writing things on the spot. It's a very sort of slow and arduous process for me.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of good. I think it's actually good that I can't write things too easily, because it's less likely that I'll fall into habits, I guess, or writing overly complex things just for the sake of it, or because I can.
Yeah.
So I need to try to find that sort of special element in quite basic riffs.
So how long does it usually take to get to that final piece that you're happy with? Are you ever happy with it?
Yeah. I don't think any musician's 100% happy with their songs. Well, that's how I feel anyway. It can take a while. So the one album that I've released for Molecules to Minds really, it took about 4 years, I think, of on and off work. Just, other things in life getting in the way. But that was actually nice because I tend to be in a slightly different mindset when I'd come back to songs. And I'd really be I was able to look into the minutiae of songs, change around structure delicately, I guess, experiment. But I guess, other songs might only take, a few months. But I'm certainly not someone who could write a song in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a few hours, like you hear about.
Yeah, or a few hours. Definitely not. I mean, one of those reasons being is that I'm writing the music by looping it back on itself, and I guess something else that's good about that process is that many times I'll be playing around with a certain effect for one song and be dabbling, write something that doesn't quite fit, but I'll like it enough to then transfer it over onto a new project.
Yeah.
And so, one song might sort of branch out into 6 or 7 different projects. And they might be in the same key, which is nice. And then an additional layer that I might be writing on one branch, I can then transfer onto another branch in a way that I didn't expect, but melds nicely with another direction that I took.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking as you're talking about schools where people, or universities where people go and, I've heard of songwriting courses you can do. And I'm just wondering, how much of it could you actually teach someone? Is it really just a matter of mucking around with it and experimenting?
I think it is mucking around and experimenting. Yeah. I've never done any courses myself, so I don't know what they would actually teach.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
I do know that when I have written music with other people, someone, Johnny Yates, who mixed and mastered some of the music on the album and I'm writing a soundtrack with, he has studied music quite extensively.
Okay.
And some of the things that I come up with, like, by virtue of not having the training there, I will do things that are unexpected.
Yeah. Does he like that?
Yeah, which is important because I know that enjoyable music's always trying to sit on the boundary between order and chaos. So things that the ear can predict, which is actually enjoyable, but music that is overly predictable becomes stale and boring quite quickly, and so you need to have those things that are surprising to the ear or things that you don't expect.
But if a lot of bands start playing that new sound, then that'll become too common as well. Your ears will predict that, right?
Yeah, so it probably explains the evolution of music for sure. Yeah.
So I'm thinking about how a lot of songs, not just what you listen to, but what you write, can be a real, I guess, sign of that time that you wrote it. And I was thinking about what you were saying, it could take 4 years till you're finished. Do you ever hear things after 3 years and you're like, actually, I just can't even use that anymore. That's me from...
Yeah.
That's not me anymore.
It's like seeing embarrassing photos of yourself from school.
I know, I've done that for sure.
The clothes you used to wear, the haircut you used to have. It does feel like that. But then other times, something that you thought was quite, stale and uninteresting become interesting again.
Yeah, okay.
So there's been something in my catalogue from 6 years ago, and they will happen to be hidden in the recesses of my computer somewhere, and I'll stumble across it, and it will pique my interest again, and then will inspire a new song.
Is it all just recorded on your computer? Like, what if you're out somewhere like this and you're like, shit, I got a good idea? You just get your phone out or something? Or?
No, I never envision a song or a tune in my head beforehand.
Yeah, okay.
It's always an act of discovery when I'm on the guitar.
Yeah.
And especially when I start layering guitars as well, it never feels like my music, so to speak. They're just capturing little moments that I then put together after the fact.
You've worked on a few different projects where you've used people online, found people overseas even. So I'm just wondering, how did you go about that, and how did you find that process?
Yeah, I found a website called Indaba, which is a networking website, and that was really cool. It allowed me to explore different genres and work with musicians that I never would have had the chance to do so. And it was difficult. I mean, I was able to write and record music with people overseas, but then when it came to translating that into a cohesive album, and especially an album that you can then play live, I quickly found that wasn't possible at all. Yeah, and so I realized that I need to find people closer by, and I wasn't able to do that initially, which is why I had to start writing music for Molecules to Minds on my own and do it all myself. But again, I was stuck in the same situation where I couldn't then take the music out onto the stage. I'm incredibly lucky now because I've found a group of people that get along really well and are brilliant at their instruments. I'm very fortunate, but it is incredibly hard to find musicians to play with.
If you do another album, is it going to be just you again on your own, or are they going to be wanting to be part of that?
No, they'll have to be a part of it. Yeah. They've been incredibly generous with their time so far playing my music. I really want them to feel an ownership over the music that we play. Yeah. So we've already written one song together, and obviously there's going to be a big dynamic shift in the music, given that there's going to be 4 other people, involved with the process. And so to ease that transition, I'm still trying to start with a base of a song that I've written, and then to add those extra elements in from the other musicians.
Yeah, okay.
So that's good as well, because with each album that you produce, you want something new to offer the listener. You don't just want something else the same. And so the good thing is that I don't need to consciously sort of engineer that. It's going to naturally happen with these new people that are involved. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it sounds.